what's up, it's Josh, and today I'm going to do something I have never done before, and that's talk about the things that I enjoy. I'm going to talk to you about my favorite anime series and movies, just, you know, shows that have inspired me throughout the ages.
Throughout the ages? It sounds like you've been living for hundreds of years.
Throughout the ages of my life. Somebody asked me what are my thoughts on subtitled animes and overdubbed animes. Frankly, I think it's just a means of fixing it to the appropriate culture. The English-speaking culture is much different from the Japanese-speaking culture, I would say. And when I compared some of the sub and the dub, there actually is some story difference in some of them, and maybe just something we wouldn't understand as English speakers, or something that, you know, doesn't transition over from Japanese culture. So I would say that some have their pros and cons, but frankly I find it easier to be able to just watch an overdubbed anime, and subtitled probably just will give me more insight to the story. First, the most recent one that I had to put on my list was Sword Art Online. I watched the subtitled version because the overdubbed version came out literally right when I finished watching the subtitled version. And I have to say, I'm not going to give much away since some people have just started it, but it is one of the best animes I've ever watched. The action is amazing, the concept's amazing, just the overall plot is immense, and the music, oh my god, the music is one thing that will really affect my opinion of an anime, and the music is freaking amazing for that show. Next I have to talk about these two is Baccano. Baccano was just an awesome concept, awesome music, great plot, great character depth and diversity, and I think that's really the animation group that did that show. That's probably their main forte, is being able to add so much depth and diversity to their characters. And so of course I can't talk about Baccano without talking about Durarara, and also one of mine and Vila's favorites. Just the character depth, the diversity, the plot, all original. It's just overall just like more drama than action, but I love animes that have a unification, though everything seems scattered. Very Quentin Tarantino style, but there's still an overarching plot throughout all of these things happening. And you have to just kind of read into it and look into it and remember certain things. You have to think about it more than just watch it. My other most recent one that I watched was Soul Eater. I think what stood out the most for Soul Eater was...
Ah, shit, sorry.
I would say definitely stands out animation-wise. It's very unique plot, very unique setting, and just the action is amazing for that show. The plot's amazing. It doesn't progress too quickly. It was just overall great. I really enjoyed that one. And of course with animes, who can't not talk about Dragon Ball Z? That was like the one thing I waited for when I came home from school. Every day, 5:30, Toonami, went to watch Dragon Ball Z, watch Sailor Moon just to wait for Dragon Ball Z to come on. It was just like, ugh.
You watched Sailor Moon because you loved Sailor Moon.
I could have done my homework before Dragon Ball Z came on, but no, I chose to watch Sailor Moon instead in anticipation. Does that make me a bad person? I don't know. But you know what? I was still in with all the girls who were into Sailor Moon, you know?
What? What does that mean?
It means like, hey, did you watch that Sailor Moon episode? Yeah, I was waiting for DBZ, but man, wasn't that crazy? And they're like, oh my god. DBZ obviously fell off and jumped the shark after Majin Buu. Most people kind of put their own stamp on when DBZ just kind of started just going awful. But I have to say that the first couple seasons were amazing. Just constant action, constant suspense, some of it ridiculous, some of it just crazy, but it was just like a visual craziness for a young child's mind. The next one might cause a little controversy. I have to say that one of my other top animes is The Last Airbender. Obviously some people argue it's not an anime since it's made in Korea with American company. I don't know. It seems like in an anime style to me, so I'm going to put it in my top animes. And overall, just a great plot, great animation, great action, great character depth. The fact that they could put so much personality into each character and define them so rigidly makes a great anime. Everything was very gradual, on point, and just overall a great anime. How can I not talk about the Ghibli production movies? Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, two of my top favorites. I love animes that have a statement in it, that talk about reality even though it's totally in a fantasy world, and the way that they made those movies just worked perfectly. I loved how Princess Mononoke was about nature and our relationship with it. In Spirited Away, the thoughts on capitalism and consumerism and gluttony, just all in there and part of our society. So it's like when children watch these kind of movies, even though it's all fantasy and tickling their imagination, it really can show them how it ties back into reality and the world they live in, and see the flaws and the faults and somehow be able to overcome those or fix them. And so I really think that animes that have a statement like that can make a really good impact, especially with really good character depth and awesome visuals. How could I not talk about Death Note? Death Note, definitely one of my top favorites. From the first episode, I was on edge the entire time. Some people say it kind of jumped the shark after L and then the twins come in. I won't give away too much in case you wanted to watch it, but it ended kind of the way I wanted it to. And so I thought it was amazing, just the awesome suspense, awesome character depth. It was like watching non-stop Law and Order. And it's like, how could you not want to watch that? Cowboy Bebop, really old anime, but man, great plot, great characters, great depth, and so ahead of its time visually. I loved how the characters always wanted to seem like they didn't care about each other, even though secretly they did. And they had different pasts that was all explored throughout the animation, not just staying in the current. Along with Cowboy Bebop comes Samurai Champloo. Samurai Champloo, love the music along with Cowboy Bebop soundtrack. The Samurai Champloo soundtrack, produced by Nujabes, Fat John, and Tucci. How can you not love the theme of it? The whole hip-hop meets feudal Japan. That's just genius. Characters obviously make a huge impact. It has to be like my #1 of all my favorites. Steam Boy, another one I recently watched, was an awesome animation movie. Just the visual work in that, just unprecedented, amazing. Like, I didn't even know people could animate like that. The plot was amazing for like a steampunk theme, and the statement on society as well. Like, that is just goes without even saying. Those are some of my favorite animes of all time. Write down in the comments like some I should watch, what your thoughts on my thoughts were, and what other things I should talk about on other vlogs. I want to try to actually get you guys to know me a little more instead of just talking about my music all the freaking time. And I'm almost done with my EP. That is going to be coming out pretty soon. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned.
And they slept without a sign of regret, so I brought the nightmare that they thought I accept would.
What?
Nothing. You just sounded like David Attenborough talking to, oh, how could I not talk about the...
How could I not talk about the Ghibli production movies?
That's what you sounded like.
That's exactly what it sounded like?
Yeah.
That voice, or is this the way? Okay.